How did you say, I'm hungry?
我饿 or 我很饿 or 我好饿
Do you remember the words for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
早饭午饭晚饭
Now, how did you say good afternoon?
下午好
And what was the word for teacher?
老师
Listen to how a student might greet their teacher.
老师好老师好
Adding 好 to the end of words frequently turns them into greetings. Ni hao is one obvious example, although as I said before, it's seldom used with people you already know. Do you remember the word for big?
大
Listen to how you would say everyone.
大家大家大家
That is literally big house, as if you're encapsulating everyone under one roof. How might you say, hello everyone, or greetings everyone?
大家好大家好
You'll hear this greeting used a lot when an audience is being addressed, for example on YouTube channels or TV shows. Say, hello everyone, I'm Jessica.
大家好我是 Jessica
How would you say, everyone will come at 4 o'clock?
大家4点钟要来大家4点钟要来
And how did you say, it's raining outside?
外面下雨
How did you say, I want to study?
我要学习
Say, we want to study.
我们要学习
Say, we all want to study.
我们都要学习
Now, just as in English, the use of all here adds a little emphasis. Now say, everyone wants to study.
大家要学习
And in Mandarin, it's also acceptable to say, everyone all wants to study. Say that now.
大家都要学习大家都要学习
This sounds strange in English, but grammatically it's identical to how we say, we all. Ask, do you want to go see a movie in the evening?
你晚上要去看电影吗？你晚上要去看电影吗？
Reply, I can't go.
我不能去 or 我不可以去我不能去 or 我不可以去
Remember, usually, 不能 suggests something physical is preventing you, whereas 不可以 suggests you're lacking permission. But this is not always the case, and they can overlap in meaning. Say, I can't this evening.
我今晚不可以我今晚不可以
Here, both 能 and 可以 are fine. However, as a rule of thumb, Mandarin tends to prefer ending sentences with double-syllable words when possible. So we've used 可以. Ask, why can't you go?
你为什么不能去你为什么不能去
Say, because I want to work.
因为我要工作。
Listen to the word for need.
需要，需要，需要，需要。
That's the same yao as want, so you could remember it by saying to yourself, I want my shoe. 需要. But remember, it's a level first tone, 需.
需
Now, this word for need in Mandarin can only be used for yourself or to ask someone if they need something. You cannot use it as an instruction in the sense of you need to leave or you need to finish the work. Say, I want to go.
我要去，
Now say, I need to go.
我需要去，我需要去，
Say, because I need to work.
因为我需要工作，因为我需要工作。
Say, I can't go because I need to work.
我不能去，因为我需要工作。我不能去，因为我需要工作。
Reply, but everyone will go.
但是大家都要去。但是大家都要去。
We've included dou here because you're emphasizing that everyone will be there. And in fact, while it's not always grammatically necessary, you'll find Chinese people tend to include dou in most situations when talking about what multiple people are going to do. It just sounds better. Say, sorry, I'm unable to go.
对不起，我不能去。对不起，我不能去。
What was tomorrow morning?
明天早上。明天早上。
Say, tomorrow morning I need to work.
明天早上我需要工作。明天早上我需要工作。
Say, I can't go because tomorrow morning I need to work.
我不能去，因为明天早上我需要工作。我不能去，因为明天早上我需要工作。
How did you ask, who is he?
他是谁？他是谁？
Reply, he is my American friend, David.
他是我的美国朋友 David。他是我的美国朋友 David。
How did you ask, do you want to go together?
你要一起去吗？
Ask, do you want to go to watch a movie together?
你要一起去看电影吗？
Ask, do you want to go to watch a movie together in the afternoon?
你下午要一起去看电影吗？你下午要一起去看电影吗？
Reply, in the afternoon I need to work. Let's go in the morning, meaning 9 to 12.
下午我需要工作，我们上午去吧。下午我需要工作，我们上午去吧。
And how would you ask, Will everyone come?
大家都要来吗？大家都要来吗？
How did you say, how are you?
你怎么样？你怎么样？
Ask, are you cold?
你冷吗？你冷吗？
What were the words for inside and outside?
里面，外面，里面，外面。
And do you still remember how to count from 1 to 10?
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。
And how did you say, the book is on the table?
书在桌子上。书在桌子上。
Let's talk a bit about word order. Up to now, we've been forming sentences by allowing your intuition to fill in the gaps and figure out how Mandarin sentences work. This is a far more natural way to learn, but it has its limits. So let's establish some rules to fall back on for when your intuition fails you. In contrast to the rest of the course, you may find it useful to write this out so you can keep it in view as you form the next few sentences. The parts of a Mandarin sentence come in a standard word order, which is subject, when, where, how, the verb or action, and then the object. That might sound confusing, so let's build it up from what you already know. How did you say, we go to Beijing?
我们去北京。
This is easy and intuitive as it's the same pattern as English. Subject, we, verb, go to, object, Beijing. But now let's add in a how. Say, we go to Beijing together.
我们一起去北京。我们一起去北京。
The structure now is subject, we, how, together, verb, go to, object, Beijing. And it needs to follow that order. You cannot move the how to the end and say, we go to Beijing together. In Mandarin, you must say, we together go. Now let's add in a when. Say, we go to Beijing together tomorrow.
我们明天一起去北京。我们明天一起去北京。
Now the structure has expanded to subject, we, when, tomorrow, how, together, verb, go to, object, Beijing. And as you've seen before, it is also acceptable to swap the subject and the when if you need to emphasize one or the other. So you can say 明天我们一起去北京 if you like, but the other parts of the sentence you can't move around. There is a final piece of information you can add in, which is where something is occurring. How did you say at home, or literally in the house?
在家里。在家里。
So remembering that the full Mandarin sentence order is subject, when, where, how, verb, object, how might you say, on Sunday, we study Chinese together at home?
我们星期日在家里一起学习中文。我们星期日在家里一起学习中文。
That's subject, 我们, when, 星期日, where, 在家里 how 一起 verb 学习 object 中文 And again, the subject and the when can be swapped if you like, but everything else should come in that order. Also, keep in mind this where means where the sentence is occurring, not where you are going. So if you said, let's go to the restaurant, restaurant would be the destination or object of the sentence rather than where the sentence was taking place. A good way to notice this distinction is to check whether you use 在 or not. If you use it, then you're referring to a location. If not, then it's probably an object. That might all be a lot to take in, so have a try at the following sentence and see if you can piece it together using the rule. Try and say, we eat dinner together in the restaurant this evening.
我们今晚在饭店里一起吃晚饭。Or 今晚我们在饭店里一起吃晚饭。
Once again, that's subject, when, where, how, verb, object. Subject, 我们 when, 今晚 where, 在饭店里 how, 一起 verb, 吃 object, 晚饭 Now, there is one further addendum, which is that if you use an auxiliary verb, like 在 or 要, it should come after the subject when segments. Auxiliary verbs are verbs that support the main verb. 在 is a good example in the previous sentence. Other examples are things like want, will, might, need, etc. So when they occur, they go after the subject when segment. Sometimes you can get a couple in one sentence. For example, you may have wanted to use 要 or 会 in the previous sentence and say,
我们今晚要在饭店里一起吃晚饭。
This would also have been correct, as 要 and 会 are auxiliary verbs and can go after the subject when, alongside 在. This rule of subject, when, where, how, verb, object is useful to know as a baseline for how to construct a sentence, and you can use it to confirm why a sentence you made was right or wrong. That said, don't fixate on it. Grammatical rules frequently have lots of exceptions, which you'll come to recognize by intuition over time. They can also bog you down if you fixate on them whilst talking. Just as with the tones, it's best to aim for an intuitive understanding of what works and what doesn't, and only fall back on the grammar rule to correct yourself from time to time. Do you still remember the words for early morning, late morning, midday, afternoon, and evening?
早上、上午、中午、下午、晚上。
How would you ask, are you cold or not?
你冷不冷？你冷不冷？
What was the word for inside?
里面。
Ask, is it cold in your house?
你家里冷吗？
How would you say, I've eaten lunch?
我吃了午饭。
Now say, I haven't eaten breakfast.
我没吃早饭。
What about, I don't eat breakfast?
我不吃早饭。
Now say, I need to eat breakfast.
我需要吃早饭。
Ask, when will you go?
你什么时候要去？
Say, I will go to the restaurant this evening at 9.
我今晚9点要去饭店。我今晚9点要去饭店。
Remember, when there are two time words, such as this evening at 9, you say them in descending order. so 今晚9点. How might you say at 8 in the morning?
早上8点，
And tomorrow morning at 8.
明天早上8点，明天早上8点，
Say, I'm very hungry because I haven't eaten breakfast.
我很饿，因为我没吃早饭。我很饿，因为我没吃早饭。
How did you ask, how are you?
你怎么样？
And how did you say, hello everyone?
大家好。
How would you say, please give me a cup of coffee?
请给我一杯咖啡。
How would you say, 7 books?
7本书。7本书。
Ask, where is my Chinese book?
我的中文书在哪里？
Reply, it's on the table.
在桌子上。
How would you say, I'm going to Japan in February?
我2月去日本。我2月去日本。
Listen to how you would say, whereabouts in Japan?
日本哪里？日本哪里？
Ask, will you go to Japan?
你要去日本吗？
Now, without changing the word order, ask, whereabouts in Japan will you go?
你要去日本哪里？你要去日本哪里？